Later than forecasted and advertised. We are back with another video on the channel, and we are going to be bringing you live race coverage of the ASRL stop number 5 in Netherlands at the Zandvoort International Circuit. We are not going to be running a formation lap due to significant delays in the start of our broadcast coverage. But for now, we are going to be going on to the race. Our pole sitter is Josh, a stunning qualifying performance from him. Stenner in the Williams, Tom Clark in the Williams, also with strong qualifying performances. But Fowler in the Renault was the real surprise story, driving the wrong way around the track and getting disqualified in doing so. We are just 5 seconds away from the lights going on here in Zandvoort. Good luck to all the racers, and we are now live as we have 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go, and the guys get away really well at the front there. Brilliant start from Josh. Stenner's on the inside. Rhino gets in well, and they're all going to file now into turn 1. There's a Mercedes in there with all kinds of trouble with the Haas coming up the back of him as well. They all seem to get through reasonably well. Josh is scampering away there. Schatz has retired from the session into turn 1. Let's try and find that car. There's a few issues going down there as well. There's a Red Bull going very slowly in there. S7W in the Renaults. We try and pick up the cars now as they go flying through this end of the first sector. And Tom Clark in the Williams there, just coming under a little bit of pressure from the FIFA analyst as well. But Josh in the Mercedes already has a 1.5 second advantage over Stenner, who has Rhino closing in on him for action as well. So far, 1 retirement. I'm not really sure what caused that issue, but it does look like there is some kind of incident that has prompted a safety car on track. And it looks to be Schatz's McLaren that is stricken there. Looks like a Renault to me that's there, but the graphic perhaps not quite showing the correct information. So we are a safety car on lap 1 here in Netherlands. A dramatic start, great start from Josh. He managed to get away really well. And in the debut F1 race here at Zandvoort, the first time these style of cars have ever driven round the 2.4 mile circuit here as they bank turn 1, the right hander there. Stenner just getting a little bit close to Josh. The safety car is to be caught up. It is currently parked now around turn number 4, the left hand spoon turn. They're just going around now. Josh will join the back of the safety car. We do have a couple of cars in the pits. That is the Red Bull of Chris and the Alpha there of Young Guru. Chris appeared to be serving some kind of penalty there, but Guru does get out in front. I do not know if that was officially a penalty. We'll wait for clarification on that. But some of the cars are now on an interesting option of tyre. So Sam CG on the hard compound, Shush on the hard compound as well, Stenner in P2 on the medium compound tyre as well. He's planning to go long in the race, it would appear. Chris came in, boxed, and is back out on the softs. And we have an interesting restart brewing at some point here when these guys manage to catch up with the pack. And there is the pack being led by Josh in the Mercedes. Let's have a look and see on board with Josh here how close he's getting to the speed of that safety car. The safety car travelling about 105 miles an hour on average round this track. Some really high speed corners and deltas to be looking at there. There's your interval and there's your position changes. Shush, the big gainer off the start there, going from P20 to P15 and P18 to P14 for DS Kof as well in the Haas. Connor has got a solid start there. He made up a place off the start. AJ Moore, the big loser in the top 10 there, he's dropped down to P8 from P5. FIFA analyst jumping up 2 places as well. He now takes P5. And a few places being made throughout the top 10 racers there. But Josh still leads the pack. Behind the safety car. We're going to be behind the safety car for at least another lap here. And there's your stops. The only 2 cars to have been made to stop behind the safety car off the back of that incident were Young Guru in the Alfa Romeo and Chris in the Red Bull. Interesting strategy decisions to be made by these guys at the moment. The soft compound tyre around here can go long if you look after it, but if you don't look after it, it will just get decimated. Your left front will take a pounding through the high downforce turning corners, and if you're not careful, understeer is a real big problem for those front tyres. Josh is going to have to manage this pack at the restart very effectively indeed. Now let's have a look down here at FIFA Analyst in the Racing Point. Just on board there, he has Tom Clark for company in front. A nice little rear wing shot there as we see Jack in the sister Mercedes and Avengers. Connor in the Haas as well, following with AJ Moore behind them as well. All the cars conquering through towards this DRS zone now, which when we return to racing speed, a couple of laps will be enabled. All of the drivers weaving an early indication that racing is about to get underway again. And Josh now just starting to back the pack a little bit. His weaves get a little bit more pronounced. He's just letting the safety car get away from him. When is he going to drop the hammer? He's going to try and catch Stenner off guard. He himself admits that he thinks he has some serious pace around this track, and I wonder at which point he will look to drop the hammer as well. He waits till Stenner is on the curve of the corner, and a brilliant restart from Josh in the Mercedes, and Stenner immediately boxes. I'm not quite sure what has happened there. Oh, it's Tom Clark, sorry. No, it is Stenner who has boxed. Stenner plummeting down the positions. I wonder if he had a penalty of some sort, because he has jumped into the pits there as well. His car in there, and he jumps onto the soft compound tyre. So I'm not really sure what is going on there, but that promotes Rhino to P2 in this race. He is just 1.5 seconds behind Josh now, and Tom Clark as well now up into P3. He has FIFA Analyst all over the back of him, and behind the Analyst as well, Jack has got the jump. And he jumps up into P5 as well. We are looking here at Tom Clark's Williams, but perhaps the battle we should be focusing on is the next one on track between Connor and Jack. Jack defending on the inside line there as they swoop round into turn 11. The left-hand spoon turn that triggers the start of the DRS and the end of Sector 2. There is the Mercedes. There's a yellow flag somewhere in Sector 2. Some kind of incident, and they are all colliding with each other going through that sector there. Hurley in the Racing Point, managing to avoid contact though with AJ Moore. Aaron following in the Ferrari, then Greg behind them in the Red Bull. Seamus not too far behind again in the sister prancing horse. Hurley just 1/10 away from Avengers as they go down the home straight here, going into turn 1, the Tarzan corner, and Hurley is the king of the jungle, and he loses the back end of the car there. And Connor now is going to have a really good opportunity in the slipstream to get back this position. Hurley just manages to park the car on the apex perfectly, and Avengers now must regroup and face an onslaught from behind in the form of AJ Moore and UK Aaron as they fling themselves through the Masters sector. It is still Josh who leads, but Rhino has cut that gap to just over a second now and will soon be in DRS range if he continues at that pace. Tom cannot keep pace with these guys though at the moment. He is 3.7 seconds behind and has FIFA Analyst all over his backside at the moment. And this is going to be a defensive manoeuvre from Tom on the inside. He will make the apex first. Analyst is going to try and sit tight, take the undercut for the back switch. And can't quite get close enough for that, but Jack is now joining the end of this battle. Some really juicy scraps developing here. We're going to see whether Analyst can get enough of a DRS toe as Tom Clark's Williams punches a hole in the Netherlands air, and Analyst looks to form up behind him, and Jack, sister behind him as well. Whether they can get the move done on this lap waits to be seen, but we have seen a move performed down here by Greg on the inside of Shush into turn 1. But Shush looks like he's going to try and sweep back across. There's surely going to be contact there. Greg has to take to the grass to avoid, and the Haas of DS almost losing his front wing there in the back of Greg's car. Greg touching the dust. DS just trying to avoid there. He just needs to compose himself a little bit, Greg, because there is some serious action going on down the field as well as the rapid Stenner now starts to make his way back through the pack as well. And still up at the top there, we can see FIFA Analyst has just dropped a little bit back from Tom Clark. Rhino consistently in about 1.2 seconds behind Josh, and Stenner pushing ever so hard to get past Sam SCG into P15. He now has Young Guru 1.2 seconds up the road as well. DS Kof here in the Haas, 0.4 seconds, just the gap between him and Greg in the Red Bull in P11. 0.2 of a second separating Shush and Greg up here, and that looks like Shush going up the inside of UK Aaron, who is going to try and defend that position as valiantly as he can. We're just catching the back end of all these cars. There are two overtaking manoeuvres happening at the same time here, and the Haas gets his move done there. DS with a lovely down the inside move on Greg. Shush could not get past Aaron at that opportunity, but we're going to get back on board with that battle now as Aaron turns corner number 4, heading up through the master section up towards the Vodafone right hand corner of turn number 8. Now Aaron 0.4 of a second behind Connor in the Haas. This is a really frantic pace Grand Prix, as a FIFA analyst now is coming under real pressure from his teammate, who has sandwiched the Mercedes there. That is the black filling in a pink sandwich, and the Mercedes is going to try and put the car down the inside of analyst, who turns in on him. Can Hurley find the position? Not quite, but he's going to have the inside line, and the exit is going to be really tight for Jack. There's going to be some DRS slipstream action on the home straight here for sure, as the Mercedes will be punching a hole in the air for the racing point of Hurley, who will then be looking to get the move done on his teammate, and Analyst is the only one without DRS, and we see now almost contact between the two of them. Analyst looks to defend, but he's going to have to try and hold the outside line. He squeezes Jack, but it legally, to be said, it was a legal manoeuvre. DS Kof there now in a battle with Aaron, those two yo-yoing between them. We're just going to ride on board with this battle for now, as Analyst, Jack and Helenio all racing through the master section of this racetrack. Yellow flag once again out on lap 8 here. Josh just building that lead over Rhino to 2.4 seconds. Back then is 4.5 seconds to Tom Clark. You can see on the graphic on the right hand side of your screen, there is a Alpha Tauri of Sam SG in the pit lane there. What a dramatic start to the Grand Prix. The tyre information, the top 8 drivers all on the fastest soft compound rubber option, as Hurley gets really close to the rear end now. Lovely overhead shot now as we follow the drivers through. Yellow flag out in sector 2, not sure who that one's for, but Citizen Chris has managed to get the move done on Young Guru down there. His Red Bull moved up into P15 as well. And Analyst looks like he is heading into the pits, and Jack follows him in as well. So a big moment now then for these pit crews. Can they get the job done? Any chance of a Mercedes jump here? We will find out in the pits. Hurley has gone through. Analyst jumping right around there, but it looks like they have got the jump done. And Analyst agonising for him as well. Comes out behind AJ Moore as well. So Jack in Dreamland gets the move done on Analyst. He no longer has to scrap for that. Analyst has moved onto the hard compound tyre. So has Jack. That is a natural track position development of those pit stops. DS Kof now promoted up into P6. A lot of the drivers now looking to move to the hard compound tyre. I assume to the end of the race, DS will have to pit at some point. I wonder if he runs those mediums long enough to be able to go medium soft on a one stop. That would be ambitious. But the cars now once again filing through that spoon left-hander as they approach the DRS zone. So nearly contact there from Stenner on the back of DS. Stenner is really aggressively making his way back through the field. He has so much pace. He's going to turn in harsh here, and there's contact there from Stenner on DS, who turns into the corner. Stenner is on the gravel. He's going to take the outside line now as the cars come round the penultimate series of corners. Can he get close enough to the rear end now of DS Kof in the Haas? You can see there just the straight line speed on those soft tyre compounds for Stenner is so much greater. He now has the inside line, and behind them is Tom Clark as well, hoping he can catch in. There's a little bit of contact there on Stenner on DS Kof, and Tom Clark now really has to keep his wits about him as there is a Haas dancing around in front of him on the track. He needs to keep that front wing intact and cannot risk an incident, but behind them Greg closing up in the Red Bull, and the sister Red Bull of Chris behind them as well. Now on lap 10 here, there is a yellow flag in sector 1. Anything doing? There is a Renault there, pivoting around. It's the Renault of S7W. Not quite sure what happened there, but he is looking like he is really struggling for grip. Rhino is now starting to really put the pressure on Josh in the Mercedes, who just manages to keep that DRS zone gap big enough. Back down in the battle for P6, it's Aaron, DS Kof and Tom Clark, who are all closing in on each other. FIFA analyst down there in P14. We will jump down to him in a minute as he looks to get the move done on Fowler. All of the cars so close together, the gap only big between Rhino and Hurley in P3. So Aaron there, DS now has the Williams of Tom Clark launch the car up the inside. No defence this time for the Haas. What can he do? He's powerless to defend as the Williams almost loses the back end, and DS almost loses the back end as well. This is a breathtaking start to the Grand Prix. We're on lap 11 and we haven't even had a chance to catch breath as of yet. Shush, meanwhile, on the hard compound tyre, has found his way up into P4 in the race. He, I think, is yet to stop. He has not stopped. So Josh, Rhino and Hurley all yet to stop. Position change graphic there shows Shush has made up 16 places so far in this race. Here is a loser of places. Tom Clark, who I don't think is yet to stop, gets overtaken there. DS Kof is going to launch the Haas down the inside. Tom is going to have the inside line though as they now move into the left-hander. And they lose the car there. We watch the car spin out of the track. And he has to be really careful now about his re-entry strategy as Greg now gets a full launch. The sister Red Bull joining them as well. So DS shifts one battle and then gets another 2 battles immediately after him. That is Greg and Chris pushing themselves in the Red Bulls, towing one another along, trying to get close enough to that Haas, but a slight drop there and a bit of breathing room. There's yellow flags all over the track here. Trying to work out what's going on. That is still Tom Clark trying to recover there. There's some more dust being kicked up all over the place. Sam CG is so far back. He is literally out of this race already. Rhino is really pushing Josh hard here at the moment. As you can see, the AlphaTauri there of Sam CG has almost just completely taken Rhino off the track. I do not know what's happened there, but Rhino is going to be absolutely furious with that. That manoeuvre there from Sam CG, and Tom Clark has retired from the Grand Prix. Hurley gets a 3-second time penalty as well for multiple warnings. I have not seen a Grand Prix like this so far in the ASRL. Josh gets another fortuitous break here in league racing. And Rhino, who had done so well to keep up, as we see Tom Clark's car. There's a safety car there. Surely a massive incident if someone managed to make contact with that car. The stewards need to clear that car urgently because that is going to block the entrance to the pit lane for so many cars. The safety car has once again been deployed, and Josh once again gets a fortunate opportunity to get a discounted pit stop time. Could this season be playing any more into his hands? We do not know. That is 7 laps of classic F1 racing there. This is by far the craziest race we have had so far here in the ASRL. Josh leads the pack as they will bunch up again now behind the safety car. We are just going to jump down here and see Stenner. He's out the pits. Shush also out the pits as well. That is a really, really strong safety car time for Shush there in the AlphaTauri, who was struggling at one point, has managed to get himself back up into P8. What a start to the race. Fowler up from 19th to P9 as well. How many pit stops have any of these guys made? They've all made at least one stop, meaning that no driver out on the circuit remaining needs to make any more stops today. Just trying to catch breath here in what has been a frantic start to the racing action, and we have got Sam CG, who was so far behind, now is all of a sudden going to get the opportunity to be right up behind the pack again. I don't know if he's got enough time to make it round to the pits and get back out again behind this Conga. If he does decide not to and just get the track position, I think that's probably a smart move there from the boys down at AlphaTauri. And once again, the Conga of Snakes forms up. And this is your core track position stats then. So Josh leads the race in the Mercedes, as he has done for every single lap so far this Grand Prix. Rhino has some electric pace though in the McLaren. Do not go anywhere. There is a high chance of some drama here with Rhino right back up alongside Josh again. Then we have Hurley in the Racing Point, who has moved himself up into P3 after qualifying. I think he qualified at P4. Chris as well on the soft tyre. He will probably have to box again, and an unfortunate position for him really, in that he could be looking for another safety car to get a cheap pit stop, or maybe a VSC or something a bit further down the line. Then we have this intense battle, of cars as we get underway again, led by Jack in P5. Stenner then falls behind in P6. He's back on the hard compound tyre. He's boxed twice. Not quite sure what happened with him. He realised that he was on the wrong compound tyre, went back in. Young Guru now officially leaves the session as well. Shush in P7 in the AlphaTauri. AJ Moore is in P8 in the Alfa Romeo. Fowler in P9 there after a disappointing qualifying where he was DQ'd at this exact corner. He span his Renault out. He was DQ'd, but did manage to form some kind of a recovery. He is now in P9 and will fancy his chances of eyeing up AJ Moore in P8 and Shush in P7 as well. I do not know if the safety car is going to be coming back in this lap or not. Chris has just rejoined the session, so I don't know whether he faced a connectivity issue at some point, but the safety car does appear. There will be coming back in on this lap as Josh starts to manage a gap there. I think this means the car's coming back in. Maybe not. Josh is getting a little bit closer now. The safety car is going in, and Josh is backing the pack so hard here, and then he drops it, and Hurley has caught Rhino napping, has he? We're not really sure what's going on. There's yellow flags all over the place. There's the Renault of Fowler back down there. He's going to get a go at AJ Moore down into turn number 1. He's made up 2 more places. AJ Moore gets the spot back from Fowler, and we watch Rhino here. That is the wrong battle to be watching at this point in time. It's this one. We want to have contact there as the AlphaTauri of Shush slams into the back of Stenner. Shush now will have severe wing damage, and he has a massive concertina of F1 cars following him through this high-speed area. Surely some damage caused there to the end plate of Shush on the left-hand side. Yes, you can see a chunk missing there. That is going to cause him massive downforce issues, and we can see now the effect that it is having. The Mercedes of Jack is all over his backside already, and we are hardly 1 lap away after the safety car restart. Rhino then in P2. Hurley, Stenner, Shush, Jack, Fowler, Aaron, AJ Moore and FIFA analyst wrap up the top 10. DS Kof on a charge. That is an incident there. Stenner has broken. Another safety car has been deployed. Lap 15 out of 36, and we are already on the 3rd safety car of the day. Chris now at the back of the field. If he can get round quick enough, might catch a couple of cars that decide to make a pit stop and make up a few places. So Shush in the pits, AJ Moore in the pits, Greg also in the pits. Let's get down there and watch 1 or 2 of those pit stops in action. The Ferrari mechanics there servicing Seamus's car. Looked like he's been stationary for a long time there. I don't know if there was any form of penalty involved there. Shush just leaving the pit lane as well. AJ Moore just rejoining the action, and Chris does scoot round in that Red Bull and critically clear that back marker traffic. This safety car is the 3rd safety car of the Grand Prix. We lost Tom Clark in a dramatic incident in the pit lane. We did not cover that on camera, unfortunately, but the 2 Haas cars now up into the points, and Greg just roaring up there to the back of Connor. And the first chance to really catch breath. Zandvoort, what on earth? This has been a brilliant track. I'm not really sure what has caused this safety car. There was a contact back in Sector 1 between Stenner and Shush. Shush has since fallen down into P16. Shush did go into the back of Stenner, but it looked like the racing incident had been cleared. Not entirely sure what this safety car is for. But let's just take a look at the tyre compound choices here. So FIFA analyst there on the Haas, DS still there on the medium compound tyre. He is going to have a clean and quick run at the back of that racing point, and expect a little batter to be developing there. But this man here, having qualified in P19, Fowler in the Renault, has an amazing opportunity now handed to him by various different racing incidents to get back up in and around the hunt for the podium places. What a start to the race. Greg, the only runner out there now as we approach lap 17. We're not even halfway through the Grand Prix yet, and we feel like we've been racing for hours, but Greg is in P11 now on the soft compound tyre. Let's jump down and have a look at him as he gets a nice view of Connor's backside there in the Haas, who in turn looks at his sister in DS Kof, the Haas there, really causing a few moments of panic over the years. These two Haas boys will be being told on the team radio, race hard but do not take each other out. There are valuable World Championship points at stake here for the Haas team. Can they manage to get the job done here? Josh once again almost losing it there. Ambitious there from Josh as he catches the dust off the tarmac on the left hand side of the track as they come round now into the second sector. He's really lighting up those rear tyres, sliding that Mercedes nicely, getting some temperature into those. But it is this restart that we are fascinated to watch. Josh and Rhino, the two cars around here, we have some proper pace merchants at the top of this field now. Arguably the 6 quickest cars in ASRL racing are positioned 1 to 6. And we have got an electric second half of the Grand Prix coming up for you. Josh is now starting to build the gap to himself and the safety car, and I would imagine that is going to symbolise that we are going to be back racing here as we approach lap 18 of this race. Josh now already starting to build the gap. Rhino just dropping the accelerator. Josh will then slow everything down again before launching that Mercedes off, and I don't know if he has gone there yet. Rhino just getting caught out, and then Josh does drop the hammer immediately, and there's more yellow flags being waved there as we see the concertina of cars all being led there. Hurley looking like he wanted to launch one down the inside into turn 1 there. He's going to have to back out, but these two are not going to give each other too much space. There's plenty of history here as Hurley comes up behind Rhino as they move around now into the left-hander of turn 4, and there's a Stenner dive bomb there up the inside of Hurley. Hurley manages to see that coming a mile off and stay clear of any danger. Stenner launching a classic manoeuvre there, but UK Aaron is coming under a lot of pressure from FIFA analysts now as they move through the master section and down into the right-hander of turn 8, sweeping the cars there. You see the Ferrari take a hell of a lot of curve, and analyst has now got the racing line. The Ferrari runs really wide, and there's contact there somewhere down the field. Yellow flag in sector 1 and sector 2. Herlinio is down in P17. We missed what happened there, unfortunately, but he has fallen right back from the pack. Perhaps an incident with Stenner that we missed there, yet to be confirmed after the race, no doubt. But Stenner for now is up into P3. Jack in the Mercedes promoted to P4, and another safety car. The 4th safety car of the Grand Prix. An opportunity now for these drivers to work out if they are going to box yet again for another set of tyres. Are we going to see any of the top order cars gamble here? Fowler finds another space, and the two Haas boys as well, they're now promoted to P8 and P9. The team radio emphasising to them that that is a good finish if they can hold those positions. But we do not know what happened there with Herlinio. But this is the 4th safety car of the evening, and something that we are going to really have to watch going forward. Can we set the record for the number of safety cars in a Grand Prix on the ASRL? We have had more safety cars. We have had twice the number of safety cars in this race alone that we have had all season so far. As we now begin lap 19, well, we're halfway around lap 19 now. And the order is almost as you were, but Hurley in the sister racing point has got a recovery drive on his hands now. He is going to form up behind some other cars that have chosen to box for the medium compound tyre. That includes Seamus, Shush, S7, and the man himself in the racing point as he launches that car. Beautiful camera shots we're seeing here now as he completes the master section of the course, turns now into the Vodafone right-hander, and they come up now to the left-handed spoon turning. So 2.4 miles of this track have only been completed 19 times by the drivers so far. Josh is coming through the final corner complex shortly. The cars are almost all in formation. I doubt the safety car will be in this lap. It is probably going to do another lap of the circuit before unleashing us back to normal race pace. Quite an incredible series of events. Hurley, we are hearing on team radio, made an error when trying to defend Stenner. So Stenner cleared of any wrongdoing for the time being, it would appear. Not really sure what is going on. Sam CG there is overtaking some cars in the AlphaTauri. I don't know what has happened there. He has jumped ahead of both the Haas drivers. Incident involved on lap 20 as Sam CG in the AlphaTauri there has jumped ahead of both Haas drivers. Interesting development there. Do not know what happened. DS Kof is lagging all over the place on some little Wi-Fi there in P9. P10 for Connor. Both of the Haas are furious on the team radio. They do not understand why the AlphaTauri has been allowed to pass them. No one has an explanation at the moment. Perhaps one for the stewards after the race as the Ferrari touches the grass. These guys are determined to run safety car after safety car, it would appear. Hurley now officially at the back of the pack, and surely the safety car will be in this lap so that we can get racing again with just 16 laps remaining now here in Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Who has got the Dutch courage in them to be able to get their car on the podium for this Grand Prix? Josh at the moment has led every single lap of the race. He was handed a massive bonus by a safety car time. Race control alert down there in the bottom left-hand corner. Safety car in this lap. So we will be resuming racing on lap number 20. Stenner in P3 now with a clear and decisive opportunity on fresher, hard compound tyres to get himself higher up and possibly challenge Josh for the lead of this race. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gents. We are going to have Stenner dive bombs, Rhino corner abuse, and Josh trying to restart everybody over the next 16 laps here in Zandvoort. The safety car dives to the pits. Josh with a little dummy and then gets away really nicely, but Rhino has managed to stick with him. Rhino is going to line up Josh here for a move into turn one. Can he outbrake him? No, he can't. Josh just doing enough there. Rhino sticking with him hard enough, and Fowler has kept himself there in P5, but look at the battle here as FIFA Analyst soars past. There's a yellow flag there in Sector 1. FIFA Analyst with a brilliant manoeuvre up the inside of Fowler. That is stunning racing from the Black Country boy there in the racing point. Gets the move done. Wow, what a move. Fowler really struggling for grip here. I wonder if he's got a problem in the Renault down there, as are the Ferrari of Aaron doing all kinds of damage there as well to the back of them. There's another yellow flag down there in Sector 1. It looks like Citizen Chris is involved in an incident there with S7W. There's two cars in the gravel. It looks like Chris and S7 are in all kinds of pain, but we have not got time to focus on that because there is overtaking all through the field. There's less than 3/10 between everyone. Carnage here in the ASRL. We're going straight to the top of the pack as Josh, Aaron, Stenner, Jack, FIFA Analyst, Fowler and Aaron all file through the final start of Sector 3 to this racetrack. And Fowler losing out to FIFA Analyst big time there. That is a track position he did not want to lose. And Rhino now, when the DRS, if he can get close enough when DRS gets reactivated, you can see the pit boards there being dropped out by the mechanics onto the pit line. 3/10 separate the leaders. Further back is 5/10 there. Josh really is not going to have this race all his own way as he first thought he would. He appeared to be suffering from a little bit of internet connection there, causing some issues. And Stenner is all over the back. These three now, it is going to be one of these three drivers that wins this race 100%. I can call it now, and Rhino touches the gravel there, just loses the fraction of time, but Josh gets a little bit out of line himself, so Rhino can stay within 5/10 of a second. Stenner also 6/10 back. The top three drivers covered by only a second on track. Further back by 1 second is Jack, and then there's 8/10 back to FIFA Analyst. 5/10 behind them to Fowler. The battle for the race win here in Zandvoort is electrifying at worst. The orange car replicating the orange national sporting kit. Can Rhino push for victory here in Holland? We will find out over the course of the next 14 laps. Takes an aggressive line there through turn 12, round turn 13, the left-hander. Stenner looks closer this time round to Rhino, but Rhino gets a great exit there and is surely now going to put some pressure on Josh. If he is going to get past him, he needs to get this move done before Josh has the skills to eke out another tenth of a second here and a tenth of a second there to just manage the gap a little bit. If he can get that DRS gap open, Josh, you would still fancy him to scamper away a little bit. Stenner getting close to the back of Rhino now. Down the field, though, we have UK Aaron under all kinds of pressure from DS Cove there, who's going to try and launch it. Aaron just braking really hard. And DS looks like he's put it on off the track, on the grass, pushing hard there. Surely now that is going to put Connor right on the back of DS. The two Haas boys need to be careful there. Sam CG has lost that position back down there. He is back down there in P10. Helenio making his way back through the grid nicely as well. We are still maintaining Josh, Rhino, Stenner and Jack for the top four. We will bring you updates on that when we have them. Hurley is 0.5 of a second now back from AJ Moore as well. This is a big battle here. There is another yellow flag in sector 1, and that is a Renault of S7W in all kinds of pain. He is having a terrible afternoon, and probably best that he books a hotel for the night in Amsterdam and does not head back immediately to the UK. Josh, Rhino, Stenner, Jack, FIFA analyst, Fowler, Aaron, DS Cove, Avengers and Sam CG all wrapping off the top 10. 4 cars have now DNF'd from this Grand Prix, and we are now looking at another yellow flag there. We have lost Stenner. Stenner, what has happened to Stenner? Where's his Williams? He's falling, he's plummeting down the field. Stenner is sideways at turn 1. Heartbreak for the Williams. We see a dive bomb go wrong. Stenner is in all kinds of trouble. He has no front wing and he has just gone past the pits. And FIFA analyst is promoted to the podium positions as he gets the jump on Jack as well. You cannot write this, boys and girls. The script is not finished here. Rhino now within 0.4 of a second now of Josh. Anyone could win this race. This is crazy. I've never seen anything like it. Jack, 0.7 of a second back from FIFA analyst in P4. DS now is once again all over the back of Aaron after doing so well to get that gap back down to a manageable option. He then found the gravel. He now has to just keep his head and wait for the moment. It might come on the home straight. DRS is now enabled as we receive the confirmation from race control, so they will have an opportunity to look for the overtake now. They go onto the home straight. That rear wing of the Haas should flap open any second now, giving the cars an extra 15 kph as a DS Cove in the Haas looks to try and get one down the inside. He can't do it, and that allows Avengers the opportunity to get close enough. Aaron touches the gravel. What on earth is going on with the battles down the field here? DS and Connor just holding position there. Connor just dropping back wisely, knowing DS has to get this move done sooner rather than later. Rhino remains half a second. Josh has hit the grass. He's hit the grass. The Mercedes wizard has lost the car. He has just handed Rhino the lead of the Grand Prix. Rhino can't believe his luck. This is the first race in so long that Josh has been under pressure. And when you put things under pressure, sometimes they crack. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a very uncharacteristic mistake from a brilliant driver, but ultimately one that might cost him a big opportunity for another race victory. As we jump down now through the field, there was a yellow flag. Not really sure what happened there. Stenner now on the softs. If Stenner can get anywhere near that top 10, this is going to be a hell of a drive. But Rhino now starting to stretch, and Josh really has the push. This is where we're going to find out how good a driver he is. Race control there. AJ Moore has a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as Helenio now started to make his way back up through the pack as well. Avengers, DS and UK Aaron continue to scrap it out now as they move up towards turn number 4. The left-hander just before moving onto the Masters complex of corners. The left, right, left S section here carried flat out at over 185 miles an hour. Can they keep their cars in decent nick? UK Aaron gets a real nice exit there, and those guys are gonna be doing just fine. Jack has fallen back a little bit behind FIFA analyst here, who is in a perfect spot and maybe the best spot he is gonna have for a long time in a podium finish for the Racing Point. Hurley making his way back through as well, and as we just start to draw breath, Josh threw away the lead of this Grand Prix after struggling a little bit too hard on those tyres. He has been pushing really, really hard to try and defend from Rhino, and Rhino got the job done. He saw the door open. Can Josh get within the DRS? He is going to have to do something soon if he's ever going to get that position back. Jack now then, an analyst. This might be the scrap to keep an eye on, and we are going to watch this as Aaron, DS Cove and Avengers, and DS Cove and has got past someone there. There's an incident there, surely somewhere. Fowler boxes for the soft compound tyre. Really interesting decision there. He is going to have some overtaking to do for sure, but he thinks that 11 lap stint on the soft compound tyre, will be enough to get him back into those positions and perhaps have something to attack the leaders at the end of the race. So Jack is 0.6 of a second now behind FIFA Analyst in P4. Traditionally, Analyst struggles in the middle sector of this track but has a really good third sector, so Jack is going to have to try and stick with him as much as possible if he wants to get that move done. Back down there then, and DS Cove has got past UK Aaron. The Haas boys running very well again in P5 and P7 respectively. UK Aaron in there, in between them in P6. But surprise, surprise, the Pink Panther Helenio is once again on the back of Avengers. This guy does not know when to lie down. He is all over the back of the Haas again, and this is going to be a conga of DRS. Towing, hole punching down the home straight. Aaron just tries to move out of the slipstream to try and clear the dirty air of that Haas. You lose so much time in the dirty air through lack of downforce being generated under the front wing of the car. And Jack now really closing in here on Analyst. He's just 0.4 of a second behind as the two of them go, beautiful camera work there, go flying through the master sector into turn number 8, and then 9 and 10 are fast left right-handers before we now move into 12 and the left slow 13. Stenner is on the charge. Surely he can't do it again. There's a yellow flag there as Shush is going backwards round the track. He just manages to right the car, but he will have Greg for company shortly. And Citizen Chris there, Chris MCFC, just one place outside the points, although he does have Stenner for company now. Can Stenner clear the Red Bull and continue his charge back up the field? We will find out. And looks like Stenner's going to throw one down the inside there. That's well judged by Chris. He realised there was not too much value in fighting the Williams there on the soft compound tyre. Avengers now is lining up a move on Aaron as Helenio dives into the pit lane. He might be going onto the soft compound tyre as well. The guys at the front of the race here are going to be under a lot of pressure from these guys on the softs. Fowler is the fastest man on the track by over 1.5 seconds per lap. Can he clear Avengers as well? Avengers pushing up there behind Aaron. Aaron is 1.3 seconds behind DS. And Josh is well now closing up to the back of Rhino. What has he got in the locker? If you're going to find someone that is going to get the title in this race, you are going to need to find someone with courage, someone with guts, someone who might make a mistake or two, but knows that they have it in their locker. This is a big test for Josh here, and also a big moment for Rhino. If Rhino can hold him off here, this is a massive test of his driving ability, and surely vice versa. If Josh can get the position back here, he's got DRS. He is so much faster on the exit of the corners there, and within the next lap you would fancy him to be close enough to Rhino to look for a move. He's got to try and not be too close in the turbulent air, but wants to be able to pick up, and he is now going to return the pressure cooker. The temperature is rising here as Connor down there brings the second Haas up into P6, gets past UK Aaron in a brilliant manoeuvre. Jack is constantly pouring the pressure on FIFA Analyst as well. The gap just 0.4 of a second there. 0.2, now 0.3 back. Aaron falling back a little bit. The two Haas guys are pushing but are clear in 5th and 6th. Good valuable championship points there for the two of them as it stands. Jack pushing. Josh has fallen outside the DRS range of Rhino. A really good lap there from Rhino. Josh getting a little bit out of line, and Greg, Sam CG, and S7 all on the softs down there at the bottom. Shush, the only driver on the medium compounds outside the top 10. What a climax to this race we have here. Can Josh close Rhino? They're on exactly the same compound of tyre. They've done exactly the same there. Josh gets a brilliant exit there. Rhino is desperately trying to break the DRS total. Josh is going to get down into turn 1. They're side by side, and Josh has regained the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 31 from Rhino. What a move down into turn 1. A brilliant overtake on the inside of the McLaren. The McLaren will stick with him surely to be able to have a crack. But Fowler, now there's an issue here as Avengers jumps into the pits. He didn't think he could get to the end on those hard tyres. I don't know if he started on them or not. But DS now, the lone car there in P5. But Jack now all over the back of FIFA analysts. Could this be a bad moment? There's a yellow flag somewhere up ahead here. I don't know what is exactly going on. It's Rhino trying to get back at Josh. The clouds are gathering. Are we about to see some rain? It's raining in Zandvoort just when you thought this couldn't get any more dramatic. It's raining. Avengers is on the intermediate tyre. He's taken the gamble. He thinks all of the other cars are going to have to stop. He's going to lose so much time and pace on this lap and probably the next. But will it be enough? Stenna is going to try and go around the outside. Connor might have gone too early. There's a racing point there in the gravel. Hurley on the soft compound tyre. There's yellow flags all over the place as Jack and analysts still continue to scrap it out. The gap there, just 1/10 of a second. Are either of these cars going to dive into the pits? It does not look so at this opportunity. Connor holding out in P10 there on the inters as Greg also moves onto the intermediate compound of tyre. 2 drivers out there on the inters. There is Greg. He has no grip. That track is not even close to being intermediate track yet. Let me tell you that. Rhino putting the pressure on Josh. So solid here. Those guys getting the lapping in of Greg. Rhino 3/10 back here on the hard compound tyre. Both these guys have scrapped so hard. This is a titanic battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. I don't know whether either of these guys will have the nerve there. Josh's Mercedes is just sliding all over the place. Rhino's going to launch one down the inside. Surely contact here. Josh does well to avoid it. Can he get on the inside? Rhino regains the lead in the McLaren. Who could have predicted that? Not me, that's for sure. I thought Josh had enough in him there to see this race out. The wet now, the rain really starting to pour down. Is there enough surface water? And Greg in the Red Bull is significantly faster. You can see the green outer ring on his tyre there, indicating he is on the intermediate tyre. If Greg can get that Red Bull back past the Mercedes, it is quite apparent every single one of these drivers will be looking to an intermediate tyre to finish this Grand Prix, or they could have major issues there. Rhino charges into the pit. I don't know if Josh will gamble. No, he will not. He will get straight into the pit there. Greg unlaps himself. What a position Connor could find himself in here if all of these guys have to box for intermediates. There's S7 in the pits there. Rhino gets out ahead of Josh. So 3 laps to go, and Josh once again. Now we have to find out more about what he is about. Analyst there in the pit lane gets out ahead of Jack. Fowler in as well. DS in as well. Can Avengers get round and jump some spaces? This is exactly why he did this, to get the advantage, to try and gain track position on some racers. He is going to jump at least 2 cars, maybe even DS Kof, who goes round now himself. Can he get out ahead of his teammate in the Haas? Yes, he can. Connor jumps DS into P5. What a strategic call there from Avengers TTV. He has made up a net position in the race purely through strategic bravery. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Rhino now with a gap of 1.6 seconds. There is no DRS, and this race could well be over. 1.5 seconds is a hell of a lot of time to have to make up. There is yellow flags all over the place. There's a yellow flag down in sector 1 somewhere that has now been cleared. And that leader battle there, could this be the first win for McLaren in the ASRL? Rhino in position to do so. If Jack is going to get past analyst, he is going to have to do so promptly as well. The gaps down the field are just starting to stabilise as the wet weather causes all kinds of havoc here. Stenna 5/10 back from Shush, and the gaps starting to extend all down the field. The only man at the moment in any kind of proximity battle, Fowler in the Renault, looking to the back of DS Kof. Can he get close enough down the home stretch here? DS is in all kinds of trouble there. It doesn't look like he's got too much drive in the Haas. Fowler is just cruising up behind, and DS is going to have to do some serious defending there if he is going to maintain that position. Fowler just 6/10 back now, but Jack is closing in once again on Analyst. I wonder if there was a moment there for Al. Can he hold on here from the Mercedes of Jack? The other Mercedes of Josh is in all kinds of trouble and may have lost this Grand Prix there. Jack running a little wide as they look to come up behind a back marker now that looks like it could be Chris in the Red Bull. I wonder if that will have any bearing on how this scrap unfolds. Jack is really close now to the back of that racing point. And if Chris has parked his car right on the hairpin, this is going to cause all kinds of havoc now as Analyst Jack gets a really good exit. If he can stay close enough now through this last complex of corners, he is going to have a great run and a fantastic opportunity to get P3 back. Can he get that Mercedes back into a podium position? Analyst gets a good exit there. So does Jack though. 0.2 of a second the gap. Jack throws the decoy, moves out to the left-hand side. Analyst just holds a straight line, and we are on the penultimate lap of the race here now as Rhino and Josh lead the cars through. Can Jack get anywhere near close enough to challenge Analyst here? We are going to go racing here for the last 2 laps, boys. Do not go anywhere. You are not going to miss anything here on twitch.tv/FootSambo as Jack now just losing a little bit of time there out of that corner in the wet. We're going to jump down on board now with Fowler, who's trying to throw that Renault down the outside of DS. All plans and strategy has gone out the window. The big losers in this, Stenner and Helenio, who pitted for soft compound tyres again, then had to pit for Inters again. Who would have forecast rain like this at the end of the Grand Prix? The drama is real. This is the battle we have to stick with until the end of the race, surely, as Jack really pushing hard now on Analyst. He knows he has to get the move done this lap, really, or else Analyst can just park the car on every single apex on the last lap of the race. Speaking of last lap of the race, Rhino has crossed the line to start the last lap of the Grand Prix. Has he got it in him to hold it together for what would be an iconic victory in the craziest race of the season so far here in Zandvoort? You can see the pace that Jack has in the Mercedes there. Surely Analyst can hold it off there. Jack is going to have a really good exit though. He takes the inside line. He's going to get better traction on the exit. This could go anyway. I do not know who is going to finish ahead of the other one in this car. Analyst has track position. If he can park that racing point in every single corner, there should not be a way that Jack can get past. But this is Formula 1 racing and anything is possible. Stenner into the top 10 now then, and the 2 Haas boys running well. It looks like DS is going to be able to hold off. Jack is probably going to have to go for this if he wants to. There's a yellow flag. I thought that was going to be for Rhino. We're going to get straight back to this battle here. Rhino is going to cross the line shortly, and we're going to be there for that moment, and we are going to lose coverage. And Josh is off the track. Josh has had to he gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting as well. Chaos down there, and Rhino is going to round the penultimate corner. The orange is the colour of the day. It's glory for McLaren in Zandvoort. Rhino with an absolutely stunning drive. Congratulations, young man. That is fully deserved. What a win. Josh home in P2. Can Analyst hold on here for a big podium finish ahead of Jack? It looks like he's going to be able to. All he's got to do is keep the car on the track as they round the last corner now. Jack touches the gravel. That is surely going to be enough for Al to get across the line. Just 0.2 of a second separate them as they cross the line. What an end to the race. 2 Haas boys as well, finishing P5 and P6. Stunning from them. Fowler recovering from P19 to P7. What a Grand Prix. FIFA Analyst claims his first podium finish, but what a drive from this man. Rhino 7746 claims his maiden victory in the ASRL with a blistering performance of courage, guts and pure bravery. What a win for Rhino. Congratulations to him. Congratulations. What a win. Who on earth could have predicted that? 20 laps in and we had 4 safety cars. No one could have seen what we were about to see coming. That was incredible, absolutely incredible racing in Holland here. And how on earth do you follow that up? Well, we are going to be back next Monday evening for more commentary, more coverage of the ASRL here on twitch.tv/FootSambo. As Rhino sprays the champagne for McLaren, Josh has to settle with P2 today. But what a drive. I'm so impressed and so happy for the young man to have got the win there. And our analyst as well must be over the moon with getting his racing point on the podium here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a privilege bringing you coverage of this race today as we get the final clarifications there in terms of time. Fastest lap of the race went to Stenner, a 1:11.5, and rounding out the top 10 there, some points for Stenner and Shush. Any stewards' inquiries will be dealt with after the race by the dedicated race stewards. For now, guys, I have been your commentator, FootSambo, and I will see you next week for stop number 6 here on the ASRL. I am out of here.